Welcome to the Dog Boy Sports and Stocks podcast. Today we're going to be talking some college football national championship. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about my Miami Hurricanes and this Monday night's championship game against Indiana. And the championship this year is not the first time that Miami has had the opportunity to win the national championship on their home field. In fact, of the Hurricanes' 5 national titles, 3 have been won in Miami. The Hurricanes' national titles in 1983, 1987, and 1991 were all won at the Orange Bowl. And Miami's 1989 title was won at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, while the most recent title in 2001 was won at the Rose Bowl in California, in Pasadena. So I attended the University of Miami from 1983 to 1987. And my first year in school, what I remember was the Canes playing in the national championship game against Nebraska. And the Hurricanes were a huge underdog. They were 10.5-point underdogs to Nebraska. And that season, Nebraska was considered to be unbeatable by a lot of people. They were actually considered to be one of the best college football teams of all time back then. And, you know, it's fairly interesting to me that team with Nebraska is similar to this Indiana team. I'm hearing the same thing. It all sounds so familiar that Nebraska was unbeatable. Now Indiana is unbeatable. And as I record this video, the Hoosiers are an 8.5-point favorite over Miami. And very few people are giving Miami a chance in this game. And I think that's a mistake. And I'm not just saying that because I went to school there. I think that I know football pretty well. This game and this situation reminds me a lot of that first year when I was in college, when nobody thought we could win. And I'm going to give you in the next few minutes a blueprint of how I think that Miami wins this game. And I think that they have a real opportunity here to win their 6th national championship. So they've got the home field advantage. And this is actually the first time in the college football era that a team will play for the national championship in its regular season stadium. So the game is going to be held at Hard Rock Stadium. And the Hurricanes went 7-1 there this year. Now, the benefit for Miami is that they're going to follow their regular ritual that they follow for every home game during the season, and they're going to stay in the same hotel that they stay in all the time during the season, where Indiana has to travel Friday night before the game and then adapt to a new environment where they haven't played before and haven't been before. I know a lot of people are saying, well, the crowd is going to be 80% Indiana. Okay, well, that's fine. That's not a problem because the Canes have been in this playoff to Kyle Field at Texas A&M, which is one of the most difficult places in college football to play. They've also played in the Fiesta Bowl against Ole Miss, where I don't know what the percentage was, but probably 70%, maybe more, maybe 75% of the crowd was Rebel fans. So they had most of the crowd against them in that game. Now, one of the keys that I think for this game is Miami's defense must make Indiana's quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, uncomfortable. He's a great quarterback. He won the Heisman Trophy. But Miami has the dominant defensive line that I think can make him run out of the pocket, not get the time that he needs to throw the ball. And I do expect Miami to have some new blitz packages and things for him in this game. Miami's defense is strong. They're 5th nationally in scoring defense at 14 points a game. And they've got Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. And I think they're going to be able to apply a lot of pressure with their front 4. But then they're going to scatter some blitzes in there. Miami also has the number 6 rush defense in the country. And a lot of people don't realize this because they know that Indiana's quarterback won the Heisman Trophy, but Indiana is actually a run-first team. So I think if Miami can stop the run and force them into long situations, third and long, second and long, they're going to be able to pin their ears back and rush the passer. And I think they're going to be able to get some pressure on Mendoza and make him a little bit uncomfortable. Now, another huge key to the game that I see, Miami's offensive line against Indiana's defensive line. Miami has a tremendous height and weight advantage in that matchup. The current lineup for Miami has every player except one of the 5 linemen 6'6" or taller. You've got Francis Mauigoa, who's going to be a first-round draft pick. He's 6'6", 335. You've got the right guard is Inez Cooper, 6'6", 350. The smallest player on the line is the center, James Brockemeyer, 6'3", 295. And left guard, you've got 2 guys that alternate at left guard, Samson Akunla, Matthew McCoy. They split time there. McCoy 6'6", 325, and Akunla 6'6", 330. And then finally, you've got the biggest guy of all, the left tackle, Markel Bell, who's only 6'9" and 340. Miami's offensive line averages across the front 6'6", 329 pounds. In comparison, Indiana's defensive line is small. They rotate 6 guys on their defensive line. They rely on quickness. Their average size for those 6 guys that they rotate is 6'2", 275. So per man, Indiana is going to be outweighed 50 pounds or so across the front. That's a big advantage for Miami. Now, size in the trenches, size up front matters, but it matters only if you use it to your advantage. So Miami's got to play bully ball and try to run the ball and play ball control in this game and control the clock and keep the ball away from Indiana. And with the size advantage they have up front, they have a really good chance to do that. Miami also has to have a great game out of Carson Beck. And Carson Beck doesn't necessarily have to throw for 300 yards. He has to be just steady. He cannot make bad decisions with the ball. He's got to protect the ball. He's only thrown 1 interception in the 3 playoff games, which is really good. He just can't make bad decisions and just let his defense play, make plays when he needs to, and Miami will be fine. Miami has a lot of players on offense that can make plays. You got Malachi Toney, who had 99 receptions, 9 touchdowns this year. He can score on screens, on punt returns. You've got Mark Fletcher, who's been dominant in the running game for the Canes. He's averaging 133 yards per game in the playoffs, so he's been doing great. Now, I watched the Oregon-Indiana game, and what I feel like Miami needs to do, and offensive coordinator for Miami, Shannon Dawson, needs to do, is do what Oregon did to Indiana in the first quarter. So what they did was they created a lot of one-on-one matchups with their running backs and their tight ends against Indiana's linebackers. Indiana's linebackers don't have the speed to match up against speedy receivers, speedy running backs, speedy tight ends. I mean, it showed in that first quarter. Oregon got a lot of big plays in that first quarter. So if the Canes can get Mark Fletcher and their other running back, Shamar Brown, in ISO situations in the passing game, they're going to get big plays. There's no question, because Oregon did it. Also important, Indiana plays a base 4-3 defense. So they don't do a lot of subbing. They don't put 5 defensive backs on the field usually. Usually they go with 4. So there should be a lot of opportunities for Miami to use their speed against these linebackers. Now, Miami cannot win this game just running the football like a lot of people think. They're going to have to get passing game, big plays. And I think these running backs and tight end Elijah Lofton will be able to do that against Indiana's linebackers if Dawson has watched the film, which I know he has, and takes some of that, what Oregon did in that first quarter. Now, Miami defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman was actually a defensive coordinator under Indiana coach Kirk Cignetti when they were both at James Madison from 2019 to 2021. So he knows Cignetti's offensive schemes and tendencies a little bit, and that could be a factor in the chess match between the two coaches, Coach Heatherman has been phenomenal this year for Miami. I mean, he's been tremendous. I hope they don't lose him, but he's been the difference for them in turning this team around on defense. Now, Miami has to capitalize on the opportunities that they get. In the game against Ole Miss, Miami's defense dropped 4 interceptions. That cannot happen in this game. Miami has to make those plays in this game to limit the number of possessions for Indiana. Finally, Miami cannot beat themselves in this game. And what I mean by that is they have to play physical, they have to play smart, and they have to limit penalties. They get stupid penalties all the time. And these personal foul calls, roughing the passer, things like that, they always come back to bite them. So they have to stay out of those penalty situations. Also, Mario Cristobal, Miami's coach, he has to coach smart. Sometimes he makes some very poor coaching decisions and game management decisions. I hope he doesn't do that in this game and cost the team a game. Let's just hope that everything goes according to plan and it doesn't come down to a situation where he's got to make a crucial decision, This game, in my opinion, the matchup, this might turn out to be one of the best championship games in the history of college football. I just think that you've got 2 teams that are really good, 2 teams that are physical, and I think it's going to come down to the end. I think someone's going to be making a play at the end of this game to win this game. Now, Miami, I think, is really motivated by the fact that they're not given a chance by a lot of people to win this game. I think that when Miami has a chip on its shoulder, like they do right now for this game, they're going to be very, very motivated as the underdog to get this program another national championship and get this program back to the top of college football where it belongs. So if the Canes just stick to the formula I just provided, we will prove the sports world wrong on Monday, and we will win our 6th national championship. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dog Boy Sports and Stocks podcast. And let's go Canes.